So we had a lot of really creepy customers who would go in there just to like look at the girls, because I don't know if you know about the outfits, but it's just like it's high socks like over the knees, like a little top that you tie right here, and then it's a little skirt, a skirt, which makes it a little better than a skirt. But yeah, that's what you had to wear. So you'd have customers like staring at you and just catcalling you when you're serving food and stuff like that. And we had this one creepy guy who would take pictures of the girls, and he would turn them into calendars, against, like, without them knowing, without their consent, that pictures were being taken. And he would just take pictures of you like while you were working. So while you're doing things like grabbing ketchup or dropping off drinks or something, you know, not doing anything special, like, oh yes, I'm camera ready, like I'm smiling, I'm posing, you can do this, like none of that. Just when you weren't paying attention, he would take pictures. And for Valentine's Day, he made a calendar and he gave them to each one of the girls, and it was really uncomfortable. And he ended up getting kicked out like 2 months after the experience, but we went to talk to management because that makes you uncomfortable, you know. It's not a safe work environment when someone's just doing things like that to you. We told the manager, and he said, I'm sorry, you can talk to him, but there's not much we can do about it. And we're like, well, what about getting him kicked out? And he's like, well, he's not doing anything that's like hurting anyone, but it's like, yes, this is hurting us, you know? So that was one incident. Another one, this one guy, I won't say his name, even though I still remember it. He's mid 60s, I'd say, probably, yeah, mid 60s. He was a lawyer. He was very well off, and he made sure we all knew that. And he would come in, sit at the same spot, order the exact same thing, a non-alcoholic beer, and he would bring a big bag of goodies. And inside the goodies were like lingerie, chocolates like with hearts in it, like nice sushi, things like that, you know. And he'd go around and he'd be like, oh, what do you guys like? And kind of just like prying with all these weird questions, but no one would think much of it until he would show up and bring things that you liked, that you said you liked, you know. So one day he was like, oh, do you like Victoria's Secret? And I was like, oh yeah, like I really like their perfumes and stuff. I didn't think he'd be asking about lingerie because that's inappropriate. So I said, yeah, I love the perfumes. And he whips out some lingerie for me. And he's like, oh, here you go. And, you know, I caused a scene, of course, and my manager wasn't too happy about it, but I told him that I did not appreciate him objectifying me. I didn't want him fantasizing about me wearing this. I didn't want him even looking at me in that way, because I'm not an object for him to fantasize about. You know, I don't want anyone thinking about me like that when I show up to work to do my job, you know? And I told him that he was not welcome in here if he would continue to sexually harass me and my other coworkers like this. So he left, and then he came back the next day, exact same thing, you know, more lingerie, but for different coworkers this time, not for me, since I told him off. And yeah, and we told our managers, and they said that they talked to him about it, but they clearly didn't, since he kept showing up again and time again after that. I definitely want it to be handled seriously and not just taken as a joke, like, oh, someone said something you didn't like, you can deal with it, grow a thicker shell. It definitely needs to be taken like as a serious threat, because you don't know what the next stage of harassment is going to be. It might just be verbal, but it might be physical later with the same customer if it's not dealt with accordingly. I feel like the manager should kick them out if they're being harassful towards someone else, because you don't want those type of people in your establishment anyways.